Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of my Deity No Food Challenge run. And today, in this in-game year 1, we have kind of a lot to get to. So, I've been doing some thinking, and I don't think we need another charcoal burner quite yet. I think if I get the upgraded production, and then in the upgrades tab, there's a plus 30% coal production for charcoal burners as well. I think I can kind of squeeze by with just 2. However, I would like to get maybe another immigration office down, but the most important thing and the most important goal for this year is to get this province, because this province is going to give tulips, and that's going to allow me to upgrade all of my houses to level 2, which obviously, more money, more science, awesome. So that will be the first kind of goal to work towards. And to do that, I need to put my trading post down. I've been trying to figure out exactly where I want to put the trading post, but because here's the thing, right? So if you're selling outwards, if you're selling products, it doesn't really matter where your trading post is because it just takes it from wherever it's stored. But if you're trying to buy products, the products are brought to the trading post. So you want your trading post in a central location. And as you can kind of see, I'm kind of stuck. I don't have that much space, so I think I'm gonna have to put it here, which is like as central as I could put it, essentially. Maybe it makes sense to do it like this, just so its entrance is more centrally located. I think that's what I'm gonna do. And here we go. So the first year seems to have gone actually a lot better than my test games, honestly, which is great. You didn't have any insane population die off, which is always good. And the one problem, though, is we're kind of on a ticking clock, right? Because eventually our medicine and our tools are going to run out. And when our medicine and our tools run out, we're going to have to produce medicine and tools. And so suddenly we're not going to have, 9 laborers and only 12 employed people keeping the job rolling. We're going to need a bunch of people on medicine. We're going to need people producing tools, whether stone or iron, and it's going to be a lot tougher of a game. So we need to get the city up and in a perfect spot for when this happens, which is why I want to get to tulips hopefully before we run out, so I can at least have something going for us. But we're finally out of freezing temperatures, so that's always nice. But we're kind of slowly tearing our way through these trees, which could potentially be an issue, especially if we run out of trees before we're able to buy this province. That would be pretty disastrous, so something to keep in mind. But it looks like we finally got to our 10 level 2 houses, so we can officially research the Middle Ages. Kind of. I think I'll grab furniture in the Middle Ages. There's not really a reason. It doesn't unlock anything if I just research Middle Ages. But yes, I need to remember to put my speed boost down and see if there's anything worth buying. I don't think it's worth buying a tavern quite yet. Our happiness is fine. It's like not optimal, but we're not feeding our population, so. And I'm gonna grab a second sustainability booklet to put in our charcoal burner. Pass on this one. Leave that. So beyond this, selling things, we need to find another way to make money, which is tough because honestly the best way of making money is selling a good like this, but I don't really know if we have farming space for it. Like maybe up here, would it be the worst idea actually? Huh. Let's see, if I build farms up here, and then I expand out and I build farms here, and then I can have kind of like a farm system here, and it can all share a granary and a windmill. That might actually work really well, now that I'm thinking about it. And then I can eventually, you know, I'll need to be making medicine and tulips, and 3 cannabis farms is more than enough for sure, especially because my houses are already upgraded. It costs a lot to upgrade your houses. It doesn't cost nearly as much to upkeep them to stop them from depopulating. So 3 farms is plenty fine for now. So I'm trying to figure out, we have a lot of laborers, a lot more than we really should have at this point, because I mean, what are we going to do with our laborers? So I think maybe throwing down some farms would be a good idea. Let's see. Something like that. And then it's gonna be a little ugly, but you know, that's life sometimes. And see if I can get that built up and harvested before the end of year 1. The nice thing about having so many laborers is, even though they're kind of a bit of a waste of resources, they also are very good at chopping things down like this, which is always nice. And then I think, I'm trying to figure out if I want another house potentially. I don't want to get too high in population because there's not that much I can actually do with this space, right? Like, I'm running out of actual space, and building more houses doesn't really rectify that. It just results in more population and more like resources being drained away, and I'm really worried about medicine and iron tools getting drained away really quickly before I'm ready. So I'm trying to decide exactly the situation here. There we go. So if I have a granary here and eventually a windmill, and then I expand out here, and then I have a bunch of farms kind of right around here, I think this will create, and then eventually obviously I can expand out and I can have a nice farming situation, and it's not going to be too far away from houses, which we already have going on. And, you know, it's not going to stretch me too thin, because mostly I just need a way to deal with this excess population and make them productive before they eat me out of house and home. Because as you can tell, our laborers are just burning through cutting down trees. So the question is, like, how do I use them before they just become a drain? I'm gonna grab furniture. I think I'm gonna grab furniture, go to a library, or well, Middle Ages library, and then push my way up to agricultural revolution. Though I might need medicine next, just to make sure that I don't completely run out of medicine. Because I can't get medicine up this season, or this year, but next year I will need it. So I think I'm going to go furniture into medicine, probably. See where that takes us. Can't afford a beer brewery. So there's not much for us to build, honestly. Like, I'll probably put down this immigration office once these farms are up and running. But beyond that, it's kind of a question of, like, what do I actually need? And I don't appear to be needing that much, especially since these charcoal burners will just be speed boosted for the rest of the year. And now we see if we can get some planting done. And yes, we can. Sweet. So now we're at the situation where we are bringing in more people with our immigration centers than we are burning through, or than we can support. And these houses, like, if you have more people than houses, people leave very, very quickly, which I don't think is necessarily a terrible thing. Like, it's inefficient to have someone bringing in someone for an immigration office and then they just kind of leave after like a short period of time, but it's kind of not the end of the world. It might make sense maybe to not work some of these immigration centers, actually, which gives me more laborers, but it stops me from just like overshooting. I think that's probably smart, actually. Because yeah, now we're at 48 population, and this is the thing about this this strategy is like you can shoot upwards in population way, way, way faster than you can like if you actually feed your population. Like if you're playing on like normal difficulty, for example, like you can be just spamming houses. You don't need to worry about like the actual, you need to worry less, I guess, about the actual what like uses of what your population is like doing. And so you can shoot upwards. You could hit like 70, 80, 90 population just in year 2 or year 1. And so if you're, you know, just trying to get a really fast city, or you're playing multiplayer trying to compete with your friends or whatever, like you can do some crazy things with just punching your population higher and higher and higher like this, and then just like not feeding them. Though I think once your food gets like, as you research technology, your food will get more and more efficient as you get things like agricultural revolution. As you get baking, things will get better and better, and I think at some point it becomes a lot more efficient to actually feed your population and then transition away from immigration offices. But I think early game immigration offices are more efficient than actually feeding your population, especially at higher difficulty levels. And normally your people don't eat as much, like nearly as much. On Deity it's like 300% more, right? So it makes more sense to use immigration offices because people, like, you know, it just costs more to keep them fed. But I think even on like normal difficulty, it probably makes sense to just do this, some sort of strategy like this, to burst your population upwards and then get as many like tier 2 houses as possible, assuming you're also getting a good harvest in. So now that we have this trading done, maybe it makes sense to sell coal, actually. Thing is like I needed what, like I'll probably need 300 coal by the summer. So maybe it doesn't make sense to sell coal. I could sell stone, but I won't be able to get stone until I get this thing right here. So I think it's probably best to just wait for the harvest to come in, honestly, and then sell a good amount of cannabis. But I need something for my laborers to do, so I might as well clear some stuff out. And I'm going to try and maintain just like, you know, 45, 44 population with just my 2 immigration offices. If it starts getting low, I'll turn them all back on. But I don't want to overshoot in this situation. If you're playing on like a lower difficulty, it matters less to if you overshoot or not, because you can easily just like get more medicine and like build tools, and it's less of an issue. But I think because we're trying to conserve resources currently, it's fine if we're not pushing our population up too high. So trying to figure out if there's anything else I can be doing in the meantime with this laborer pool that's keeps just going upwards, honestly. And I think this definitely shows the power of immigration offices. Like I have 2 immigration offices and I'm not feeding my population, and people are constantly dying, and I'm still like at 47 population, which is over what my housing limit is, which is just kind of crazy. These will definitely be medicine farms eventually, because the amount of medicine you're going to use is very, very high. Next year will be kind of sketch because we'll run out of medicine probably pretty early in the year. So that'll be something to watch out for. I might have to import medicine. We'll see. Tools are something I definitely need to sit down and like talk about. They're kind of weird how they work, but I think that's better when we run out of tools, then it'll be a better time to actually talk about them. So once these cannabis things come in, I think I'm going to sell it as soon as we hit 120. I'll sell all the cannabis we have and then see where that takes us. Yeah, 117 is good enough. Perfect. Now I can buy this and start clearing out this area for farms for next year. So then we can get our tulips up, we can get everything upgraded, and hopefully not implode when we run out of medicine, which is definitely going to be an issue. And now we're starting to drop off, so I think I need to make sure that these are employed. And probably put down another one just in case. It's always better to have more immigration offices than less, because it allows you to bounce back quickly, and it's easy to kind of get a little complacent and then run out of stuff going. Like, it's easy to get complacent and not have enough immigration offices, and then something happens, or your bill gets less efficient, and then you just start collapsing in population because there's nothing keeping your people alive. So I need another storage area, and I don't know where I want to put it. I think putting it near where I'm going to be doing more work, like where my population is going to be working more, is good. So I think maybe putting it here, then that will be, and then if I expand my city out west here, I think that'll be a pretty efficient use of space. And I'll star that so we can get that figured out before we have too much pain going on. Now we have the upgrades tree. I forgot about the charcoal burner. The charcoal burner is super powerful. We don't need medicine until next year because, we can't get a harvest in. So I think I'm going to get this charcoal burner improvement first and then grab medicine for next year for the farms that'll be putting up. So we're going to spend this winter, one, trying not to implode our population as things get cold and people stop actually paying attention to their work and start just huddling in their houses because they're cold. And then hopefully get up a bunch of farms and see where that takes us. I go back and forth on whether to sell stone because we're going to have a ton of stone, so it'll probably be worth selling. And we have a ton of cannabis actually, so I probably should just sell more cannabis just to keep the money up, and I could buy another thing. I think instead, actually, I'm going to upgrade the town hall to level 2 just to get the upgrade. I kind of forgot what the forest level 2 upgrade is. I wish there was a wiki or something to actually look this up, but upgrading this immediately gives you a bonus, which I think, and unlocks buy wood and steel cards, which are both very good, honestly. Steel is just free money every single time. You just take it, you steal some money from the AI, it's a net benefit. So this is worth it. And we get plus 30% productivity from beer brewing, which I don't think we'll end up even needing ever because pottery is better than beer typically. And because we have cannabis and tulips, we don't need beer. Beer is typically like the fourth best luxury good in my opinion. And then we have improved tool making. I think the tool making will be the one due because tools are definitely going to be an issue. Just kind of keep it going. So I'm going to take the tool one. And then it also unlocks influence, which allows you to expand faster, which is always nice. All right, so things are expanding pretty quickly. I have to figure out exactly where I want to put my farms. And I think, let's see, if I've got a granary here, and then a windmill here. I think doing something like this and this and this will be correct. Plus, I think it looks nice nice and symmetrical. I'm always a fan of, making things look nice if you can. Though, I guess I'm more of a form over function type of city builder in general. And you kind of have to be on Deity, but yeah, now our population's collapsing. And this is what kind of can happen oftentimes in this game, especially if you have an event that causes all of your people to leave their immigration offices for whatever reason, whether it's like they're cold or whatever, then what's going to happen is you're not going to feel it right away, but you're going to have like a buildup of like people who are the same age when they like all jump back onto the immigration offices and they're all going to die. And you can have these like collapses in population that can happen. That can be pretty dangerous, especially during the winter when your immigration centers are just not worked very often because everyone's just trying to stay warm and not die, that you can have these collapses. So like I was at 48 and now I'm down to 37 and gotta go back upwards. I think our charcoal burning situation is shockingly good actually. Like I think because we've stayed low in population, we haven't kind of pushed it. Charcoal burning has done really well, which actually makes me think of maybe upgrading stone insulation. This is something that like I almost never do because it's a lot of stone to upgrade all of your houses, but because we're playing on Deity and you need just like every little ounce of like efficiency you can get, and because we have kind of a ton of like stone here, and I think this will probably be the next spot to take, and we'll get even more stone, I think it actually makes sense to just start upgrading these just to reduce the amount of coal or charcoal that we'll need. So I think that'll be a smart thing to definitely sit down and do. We're actually doing very well on coal, which is surprising to me. I think it's just a testament to how efficient these charcoal burners can become. Like this is taking 2 wood, producing 28 coal, and it's only going to get bigger as we build more charcoal burners. When we get to 4, it'll go up. So, and we're going to get charcoal burner improvement. So these 2 charcoal burners become hyper efficient. This is one of the reasons why I like these over like a mine like if I had like a coal mine or something going on, it would take 4 population, first things, and 2, it just would not nearly be as efficient as what these charcoal burners can push out. I think we'll probably survive this little mass die-off, but we'll need to buy some serious medicine, definitely. Which means we will need to sell a bunch of cannabis. But I don't want to sell too much because I don't want my houses downgrading. So you need some cannabis to keep your houses kind of like stocked, because they slowly go through cannabis and then eventually like downgrade if they don't get more. So I don't want to sell too much. But I'll sell a bunch of charcoal if need be. If we have a bunch at the end of winter, I think. Which hopefully we will, actually. It looks like our charcoal situation is actually, or our coal situation, I guess, is doing pretty well. But the starvation continues in this weird little city setup. Ooh, one thing I always forget to do is extend your roads like into where you're actually like cutting down trees, because like it's going to make them just a slightly bit faster getting actually to the trees and back. And these roads cost nothing and they just increase your movement speed by 20%. So just a little thing to remember to do that I always forget, because, you know, it's kind of hard to remember these things. But definitely basic medicine needs to come down next, followed by Middle Ages, library, and then probably pushing up to granary to get these farms a lot more efficient. We're already in midwinter and not using much coal at all, actually. I'll be able to sell coal as soon as this trading post is done. See. Yeah, I think I'm going to want to build more immigration offices, because we're going to need to massively expand, maybe not massively expand, but expand our population next year just to afford like these farms and be able to kind of make all of that happen. So I think it's worth putting down houses. Where do I want to put down these houses? I want to have some houses like near these farms, right? Because currently these farms are, well, they're not being worked now, but this charcoal burner and the immigration office are already kind of walking for their houses. So these farms, they're definitely going to walk for these houses. And since I want granary here and the windmill there, I think maybe putting these houses down here will work well. Yes, I think that'll be a good plan. Give our laborers something to work on while they're, you know, in between cutting trees, I guess. And now the mass die-off continues. So this is what happens like in the middle or end of winter, just because nobody working here, nobody working here, nobody working here, nobody working here, nobody working here. This one, someone is working, but you just end up with mass die-offs because you don't have these immigration centers to replace the people, and then you end up with major issues. But I am going to, oh, and we're basically out of coal, great. So next year, when we get more coal production, or get coal kind of back, I'm going to start selling coal, I think. And then hopefully make enough money to fix the medicine problem. It will be the major issue for sure. And then I guess go from there. Because then, you know, I can upgrade all my houses get rich, and research new technologies. And so that finishes year 1. Things are a little bit sketchier, I'd say, than the end of year 0, but that tends to happen when you run out of medicine. It'll happen again when you run out of tools, and that's kind of what makes Deity Deity. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.